Miss Jess Inglott, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
All the jokes we've said so far.
I know we've had such a great couple of outtakes. Like it seems like a crime we weren't recording before, but here we are. So I know you. Everyone else knows you, but for the people
Does everyone know
that
me?
don't, apparently so. But no,
I'm famous.
Well, it depends on the circle, right? But let's say for the people who don't know who you are, can you give us a bit of background on who you are and what brought you to the gaming industry?
Oh, that's a long one, Jean. But so I'm Jess. I am head of Supplier Relations at Hub88. I've been in the industry for nearly 6 years now. My background is, I started off as an account manager, so working on the supplier side. And in fact, what we're going to talk about today is very supplier oriented.
Okay, so you're, let's say, you're good with people. You're a bit of a people expert.
Well, some would say yes, some would say no.
Depends on the account, right?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, yes.
Fair. And for those who haven't heard of Hub88, what does Hub88 actually do?
So Hub88 is a game aggregator. I'm happy to say that we're one of the leading aggregators in the gaming industry. Hub88 has been around for a very, very, very long time. And evolving, launching new things. And one of those things is why we're here today.
Okay, so before we jump into that exciting topic, like how many years are we saying that Hub88's been operating for?
Over 10 years.
Over a decade. Okay, I had here a decade ago, so I think it's sort of clear to say that I think Hub88 is basically a market leader in the space, right?
Yes, one of them.
Fair enough. Okay, so and today we're talking about HubConnect, if I understand.
Correct.
Okay, so what is HubConnect exactly?
So HubConnect is a project which we launched now a month and a half ago. It's essentially a space where suppliers and operators can find answers to all of their questions. And as you can imagine, this industry is full of information, full of data. HubConnect is showcasing it in an easy way, in a simple way for both our supplier and operator partners.
Okay, so if I'm a supplier, then I come to Hub88 and I can integrate with you guys, and you can bring me a bunch of operators which can potentially bring me business, right? And we can partner together.
Correct.
And if I'm an operator, I also know I can come to Hub88 and I can have let's say a sort of menu of games to choose from, which are regulated in different jurisdictions and different sort of geos, and that's what Hub88 does sort of by default. But what really motivated the development of HubConnect, and how does that sort of stand out in the market?
Well, like I said, there are so many questions from suppliers and operators, and there's so much information. And suppliers, me coming from a background where, I was an account manager for a supplier, I know what a supplier wants out of an aggregator. And being now with Hub88 for over 2 years, the questions are always the same from the supplier. Supplier X is asking you the same question as supplier Y and supplier A, B, C. So it becomes, everyday questions, which for us, these are basic questions, which we want to take away from the everyday. And the questions now that we want from our suppliers after the launch of HubConnect is, how am I going to grow? What do I need to do to grow? Who do I need to speak to? They find all that in HubConnect. And so from there, I want to now start talking about, revenue, how they can help operators. It's not only about the basics.
Okay, so I guess a way to look at it is like Hub88 originally started out as this sort of game aggregator, and then realized that games are, of course, just they're a big part of like opening your own casino and a big part of the industry, right? But like you said, there's other major problems which each and every operator and supplier end up facing, right?
Correct.
So what HubConnect does is sort of provides a little ecosystem in which all of your experience and knowledge has been siloed into this platform and can be shared with like the relevant parties.
Exactly.
Which makes sense. And growth, I think, is an interesting problem area to focus on. Are there any other areas that like HubConnect really adds values, for example, to the suppliers? Is there any major benefit for the suppliers
So currently, the supplier zone has, let's call them features. So 5 features. The first thing that a supplier sees when they enter the supplier zone is a dashboard with their performance on Hub88, so metrics. They can also see where they are positioned in terms of geos, as you said earlier, you mentioned geos. So they can see where they benchmark against Hub88's top markets. They have a full library on all contacts of Hub88. So who is in charge of invoices, who do I need to contact? Who is in charge of contracts? Who do I need to contact? All this information is there.
Okay.
There's more.
That's very cool, because that creates a lot of like operational simplicity, which if you're just starting out a casino and this is invaluable.
This is from the supplier side, but yes, it's also available on the operator side.
Okay.
Then there is a procedures index. So all procedures of Hub88, what you need to do if you want to release a new game. What do you need to do if you want to promote a game? Then there is a full list of operators available on Hub88 where suppliers can have direct contact, which is again what they want and what everybody wants. So, and that's the purpose of the name of HubConnect. Getting people together, it's all about connections. And last but not least is performance metrics. So they can see data for all the operators that they're live with.
So that, I guess, gives a supplier a way to benchmark their own product in a way, right? And sort of get some kind of actionable analytics on how to improve their business.
Absolutely. So let's say a supplier is live on 10 operators. And let's say Hub88 only has 10 operators. So they will be able to see the markets that are driving the operator's business. So if, for example, the supplier's main market is Japan, is Japan flying on these operators? If yes, great. If no, then that's an opportunity. They can see new operators who have gone live with their content. Again, an opportunity. They can see this data for the last 12 months for bets, GGR, country, and average bet.
Cool.
So Hub88 has a lot of operators who are very VIP driven players or high rollers. So you can see as well if the average bet on a particular game was 10 cents and is now 500 euros, then you have a high roller there.
Of course.
You want to invest in that high roller. If you want to, you can see who he is and you can build. It's all about building. And
I think more importantly, you can trust the information.
Of course.
That is the big part, right? Because like if you have a supplier and an operator, and they want to work together, but they've never worked together for the first time, right? There's no trust built, and nobody knows. Number one, no one knows who's gonna do what with the data. So like having something like HubConnect there, saying, listen, these guys are legit, and these guys are also legit, and this is the data being moved between each party. And the other part is that, as far as I understand, you also shed some light on like operational procedures, right? And
Yes.
how these entities should work together. Can you share a little more about what the supplier procedure index looks like in HubConnect?
So it covers many deliverables. So as I said, Hub 88 is the middleman between the supplier and the operator. So Hub 88 needs to enable the game for the operator by the supplier, and there are procedures for that. Should a supplier wish to have a promotion with operators on Hub 88, they also need to follow a procedure. So all that is very operational, and we've used this term before. Although operational, these procedures also highlight opportunities. So did you know that you could offer an exclusive game to Hub 88's operators? Did you know you could advertise your promotion in our newsletter? Or if there is a massive new tool that you're offering and for players, we can do a PR on it. And all this is highlighted in the procedures.
And that helps sort of move the needle for the bottom line for both the operators and the suppliers, right? It works sort of.
And Hub 88.
And Hub 88, of course.
We're in it together.
Of course. And I think that's when you get a sort of beautiful partnership, right? When sort of each party's interests are aligned in a way that they're meant to converge rather than diverge. And this is exactly what something like this enables.
Yes.
And I think one great example of that is, because I had a look at the platform very, very briefly, and one of the examples is you're able to see a list of contacts within each company, which that just blew my mind, because now it becomes, okay, I don't just have a relationship with this person at this company, and if they move on, my business is destroyed. It's, okay, I have a list of everyone that works at this company. If I'm going to reach out to them, if I understand, it's a warm reach out, because it's coming through the HubConnect platform.
Yep.
So the person receiving it straight away knows, okay, we can trust these guys. We have there's some sort of relationship there, and that makes doing business a whole lot easier, right? Like,
I like to call it value in connections.
Value in connections.
That's one of our internal slogans.
Watch out, LinkedIn. Value in connections. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And has there been a department or a business unit, perhaps within each side of the businesses, whether it's the operator or the supplier, that you feel has been more positively affected from this contact feature specifically?
The first department that is heavily positively impacted is the commercial department. So the suppliers, we've presented HubConnect Supplier Zone to over 100 suppliers, and they got all excited. You're giving them what they want. So they've been reaching out to a lot of account managers saying, so you're in charge of this operator, may you please introduce me? Or my games are very successful in Japan. Japan is a top market for Hub 88. Which are the operators that are driving this? It might be interesting for me to speak with them. So the commercial team got a lot of
happiness.
yes, happiness. But that's what we all want, right? The finance department also, because obviously suppliers need to invoice us because they want their money and we want to pay them. And some suppliers wouldn't know exactly to whom to send invoices. So yes, everyone was positively affected. It just makes things easier operationally and just an easier flow.
Absolutely. And talk to me about specific benefits on the supplier side, right? So I'm assuming since you know you mentioned your personal background was on the supplier side, you're an account manager at the supplier side. I'm assuming you're like very privy to the sort of data-rich features that the platform offers to the suppliers. So
Yes.
if I'm a supplier and I'm signing up for HubConnect, I'm integrated. What do I get? I know we've already mentioned a few things, but what do I get that's particularly unique?
Data. The data. We've had some suppliers telling us that HubConnect suppliers' own data is better than their BI. Which is,
Which
I
makes
know.
sense. Which makes sense in reality, because like people don't realize, they underestimate how much effort it takes to get cubes right. Right? So if you've done this and you've cemented it and you're just offering that framework out over and over again with the best practice baked in, and your clients don't have to think about it, okay, so you're saving them a lot of money on the BI side. That I can see.
Well, yes. I mean, we enhanced what they don't have, So again, it's just back to giving suppliers what they want. And the data that we're giving them through the supplier zone is enormous. Back 12 months, 4 different metrics, 3 different tabs, so per operator, per country, and per game. I'm telling you, out of the suppliers that we've presented this to, it was a dream come true for them.
For sure, because setting this up, like let's say you're a new supplier, for example. Number one, you're not going to know what the best practices are. So by default, you're going to need to run on Excel for X number of months just to understand how you need to see the data that you need to be able to run your business in the most effective way.
Exactly.
And then once you have that spec, then yeah, it's a question of implementing it, maintaining it, paying devs, getting all that done.
It's true.
So this
Absolutely.
is a value-added service, and so many things can go wrong along that process, right? So if this is like a baked-in value-added service, where the suppliers can just go, okay, I have a dashboard to essentially measure the health of my business, right?
Absolutely. On Hub 88, yes.
On Hub 88, well,
Yes.
Hopefully they choose that as an
Yes.
exclusive platform.
I
right?
mean, there are so many suppliers in the industry. Somebody was telling me there are over 500 suppliers. We don't have 500. We have 200, which is a lot. There are many operators in the industry, each with different goals. Each are operating in different markets. Each are marketing the way they want to market. Some use affiliates, some use this. There's so much. I mean, it's never ending. So HubConnect's supplier zone, yes, shows the supplier how they're performing granularly. And from the operator zone, there's more coming up there. There's a lot coming.
Can you give us some hints of what operators might expect to see?
Yes, I have a whole list. I can't see my notes for this one.
We'll let you take a little sneak peek at this one, okay? Like everything else should have been organic, but yeah, you can have a sneak peek.
There's a lot. There's so much. So operators will have a dedicated page in the operator zone of all promotions offered by suppliers. It already exists today, but not in a very nice and can I say the word sexy? I'm going to say the word sexy. Not in a very, presentable way. So they're going to have that. It's going to be very dynamic, automated. So promotions is one thing. There is also going to be an extensive supplier and game catalog. We already have this, but so stressing on the word extensive. There's so much information on games. What's the RTP? What's the volatility of the game? What type of game is it? Is it live dealer? Is it slot? Does it have bonus buy feature? Because that's a big one. does it accept this currency? It's huge.
Of
We
course.
have this information, but we're just going to, again, present it in a way that's easy for the operator to find.
Like a matrix of sorts, right? Like a sort of
Kind of.
comparison sheet. Like,
It's a big catalog.
yeah.
As well, recommendations. So supplier and game recommendations, which is through API. So I am performing in Finland. That's my big market. Which games and which suppliers work the most in Finland? We know this. I mean, everybody knows it, but it will be there. They can download. They can easily find information. There's
Interesting.
loads.
So does that mean that like HubConnect essentially becomes like a sort of like a semi-public leaderboard on how one game is and one operator are performing versus another?
No, not how an operator is performing versus another. That no, as in that information. Well, yes, it would benefit an operator, just like a supplier wants to know how am I performing versus supplier X. That they will have. That's one of the next features that we're going to launch through the supplier zone. They'll be able to benchmark themselves against other suppliers.
Very cool.
But the operator side, no, as in that's not something we're going to.
I
to
can
look
understand
into.
the need for misaggregation. It makes perfect sense on the supplier side, though, and I'm happy to see it'll be.
On the supplier side, yes.
It'll be a newly rolled out
There'll
feature.
be, I don't know. Let's assume again, Hub88 only has 10 suppliers, and you're a supplier. Do you rank? Are you first on Hub88 or are you 10th?
That's cool.
You want to be first, right? Everybody, all suppliers want to be number one.
I can see the Hub88 awards already, like the supplier awards already.
That's a real good idea, actually.
I can
A
see
nice
it coming.
idea to put into the supplier zone.
Sponsored by
Awards.
Next.io.
That's actually a really good idea. Didn't think of that one. So yeah, imagine you rank 10th. So out of 10, you say, I need to grow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's opportunity.
Exactly.
So that they'll be able to see. And they'll also be able to see how they rank on top 20 operators. So on our, let's say, number one operator, where do you rank? Again, if you're ranking 10th, there's room for improvement.
Absolutely.
If you're first, are you doing everything possible? Can you grow more? Because I'm sure you can.
And that's real market data, and that's why it's so valuable, right? Like having a lot of marketers make assumptions based on data sets that they think are correct. And even if you have your own in-house BI team, you've designed everything in the right way, you're still assuming that those cubes were assembled in the right way to give the right picture, right? Because data can very easily be manipulated and
Yes,
show
but the data
a different picture.
No, the data that we're showing the supplier, they could see it on their side if they wanted to map it. Their BI could map and do the dev
Yes,
work.
but you map it out in a way where there are no mistakes in the areas of interpretation and in a standardized way across industry.
Raw data.
It's raw data.
It's raw.
It's raw data.
Raw actual data, which the supplier would also be able to see on their side.
Yes. But again, in your own dashboard, in your own format, in
Yes.
your own, and that is the framing that data in the right way. That's massive value. You understand? Massive,
Yes.
massive value.
Correct.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, it is.
Jess Inglott, thank you so much for being in the studio. If somebody wants to contact you, where should they reach out?
Oh, you know where to find me.
Of course you do.
I'm
Of course you
everywhere.
do. Thank you so much, Jess. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Cheers.